Hey, what's going on, Pokemon trainers? Today we are going to be attempting a Jynx Pokemon Solo challenge. We are going to see how fast can this cute little, or should I say big, wink wink, Jynx can settle this run. If you have any predictions, let me know in the comments on what you think might happen or how this run will end up going. And like any other YouTuber says, smash that like button and subscribe if you enjoy the video. Now on to the move pool. Now to begin with, Jynx is an ice/psychic type Pokemon, and it starts off with Lovely Kiss and Pound, which is okay, but not good enough to beat Brock's gym with ease. The only good moves our Jynx learns through level up is Ice Punch, Body Slam, which can be taught by the TM of course early on, Trash or Thrash, however you want to call it, and Blizzard. Now for its teachable movesets, this is quite surprising. We actually have a decentish variety of teachable TMs, but most importantly, the ones we might focus on are Body Slam, Bubble Beam, Ice Beam, especially Blizzard and Psychic. We might pick up a few other ones later on, but most likely will be getting replaced later on by other TMs, depending on our situation of course. Now let's look at Jynx stats. Its special and speed are what's most likely going to end up carrying throughout the game in my opinion, and due to the fact that Jynx has a high speed, there's a good chance we might end up critting a lot, which might end up benefiting us later on, such as with Blaine, the fire type leader. Overall, Jynx is a glass cannon, low defense but high special, but here we are. Without being said, here we are fighting rival number 1 in an intense battle. Nicki Minaj putting the Eevee away, pounding away at our rival's little hairy raccoon, ultimately getting a crit and beating rival number 1. After beating our rival, we go ahead and fight all the trainers in the forest due to the fact that our Jynx is going to need all the levels and XP it can get early on to beat one of our hardest challengers in the early game, Brock. For those who are wondering, our Jynx is part of the medium rate leveling up curve, meaning we will be leveling up at a moderate and steady pace, which is goodish I believe. And with that being said, we beat Junior Trainer and we go ahead and save to approach our first gym leader, Brock. So here we are at Brock at level 13, and this battle was pretty hard if you ask me. One thing you will notice is that I am not fully healed, but it does not matter, as I soon found out that this little pebble Geodude was too much for me to handle at my current state. But in no way or shape or type of form am I going down without a fight. I tried putting the pebble to sleep, but for some reason it just did not want to sleep. Oh well, this was a reset unfortunately, and what I did was I want to go ahead and train Nicki Minaj. Now that I've came back stronger, let's see if we can go ahead and defeat Brock at level 16. So now that we are 6 levels higher than Geodude, you'd imagine we can do some more damage, right? Well, no, you are wrong. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, my Jynx is still getting beat up by a pebble. Anywho, we spam Pound and managed to get past the Geodude with a slither of health of 6. Now on to Onix, Brock's last Pokemon. Let's see if we can put it to sleep, and we actually did, but our Pound isn't doing enough damage, so yeah, looks like this is another reset. So I decided to train just a tad bit more and give my Nicki Minaj some singing advice and lessons, which boosted her confidence into a whole nother level. So I believe we should be able to defeat Brock this time. For those who don't know, Nicki Minaj is a famous artist, singer slash rapper, as some females might say. Anywho, the strategy here with Onix is to use Lovely Kiss when Onix uses Bite, and spam Pound when he's attacking regularly. For those who don't know how Bite works in Gen 1, is he absorbs damage and essentially attacks you with double the damage you caused it. But since we use Lovely Kiss and we inflict 0 damage to Onix, thus causes him to either sleep or cause the move to fail since 0 damage was inflicted. So we knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. Surprisingly, Brock did not use a full heal on the Onix to wake it up, since Geodude earlier used it right away, which honestly helped us out a lot. Spoiler alert, yes, we did beat it, and was honestly probably the reason why we actually managed to win the fight. I guess AI on Brock is not that good as I suspected, which benefited us, so that's okay. Now, I must say, I suppose my little pep talk with Jynx actually helped out and worked out for the best. While in the first cave, I went ahead and picked up our first teachable move, Water Gun, which will be soon replaced by Bubble Beam. I picked up the rare candy, also picked up Mega Punch and another rare candy, so now that we are here, we have two choices. Do we want to defeat Misty or rival number 2? I went ahead and faced rival number 2. Our rival starts off with a Spearow. We used Mega Punch, Spearow uses Peck, does barely any damage, and we knock it out with Mega Punch. The second Pokemon, our rival uses Sandrew, and we have an answer for that, it's Water Gun, which we picked up earlier. We get a crit and finish it off in one hit. My Jynx levels up and wants to learn Double Slap at level 23. I was debating if I should teach it Double Slap, but we've taught our Jynx some fairly good moves at this point, so I decided to abandon learning Double Slap. Next up, our rival sends out Rattata and finishes it off in one hit with Mega Punch. Now he sends his final Pokemon, the Hairy Raccoon Eevee, which we use Mega Punch and it survives. No big deal, we should knock it out with the next move we use, Water Gun, and it survives. So I was like, well, it's almost done for, I can use Lick since it's a weak move. I forgot, Ghost doesn't affect normal types, oh my god. So we use Water Gun and finish it off. That fight took much longer than I expected it to be. After defeating our rival, we go ahead and defeat Nugget Bridge and make our way towards Spillhouse, where we collect the SS and ticket. Next up, Misty. Her first Pokemon, she sends out Patrick Star. I'm just kidding, it's Staryu. We put the star to sleep and it wakes up, put it back to sleep one more time and finish it off with Mega Punch. Next up is Starmie. We put out the Starmie to sleep and Misty uses an X-Defend. Nice, Misty a X-Defend, right? Never mind, it actually seems to be helping since I only cost about 10 to 15% damage with Mega Punch and I am over level 2. We use Mega Punch one more time and whoa, we did absolutely terrifying damage. I couldn't even talk for a second just because of how surprised I was. But anyways, Starmie continued to sleep like a baby. We finished it off with Mega Punch, earning us the second badge. With that, we earned the TM11 Bubble Beam and we decided to teach it to our Jynx. Next up, rival number 3. We are currently level 29, which honestly is pretty high at this point in the game, especially when compared to his Pokemon. We knock out the Spearow in one hit, knock out the Rattata with Body Slam as well, use Bubble Beam on the Sandrew, and now finally his Pokemon Eevee, which we used Body Slam on and actually survives, which I myself thought was going to be a one-hit KO. And then of course I used Lick on it by accident again, no biggie. I finished off his Eevee with Bubble Beam. Now that we defeated rival number 3, we get the HM cut and make our way towards the third gym, where we solve the puzzle and make our way to challenge LT Surge. Fun fact about Pokemon Yellow is that LT Surge only has one Pokemon, while in Red and Blue they have 3 Pokemon. So considering it only has one in Yellow, I think it's fair to say that it's a little bit easier in Yellow. Although he has one, he has pretty good moves and moveset and decentish AI. I outspeed, used Body Slam on the Raichu. He replied back with using Mega K, taking half my health away with one move. I used Lovely Kiss and put it to sleep. It uses an X speed, doing nothing, and I respond with Body Slam, landing a crit, finishing him off and getting my third gym badge. Next up, we make our way towards Pokemon Tower and where we fight Giovanni. He starts off with Onix and I use Bubble Beam, knocking it out in one hit. Next up, he sends out Rhyhorn. We use Bubble Beam too, finish it off. Next up, Persian, one shot as well, which pretty much made it a clean sweep. With that being said, we make our way to the department store and give the young lady a water, where we collect TM13 Ice Beam, which is going to be a great addition to our moveset. Now this time I actually didn't forget. Surprise, surprise, we make our way to face off Erica, the 4th gym leader. She's a grass type leader with Ice Beam. This should be an easy win for the 4th badge. We use Ice Beam on Tangela, Weeping Bell, and the same goes for Gloom, causing them to all be one-shots. Now we make our way towards Lavender Town where we fight rival number 4, and we're so over leveled that this is going to be an easy victory at this point. He starts off with, oh my god, a flying turkey, I'm kidding, with Spearow, but now evolved into Fearow. Next up, Shelter, we use Body Slam, but whoa, it actually survived that, I'm impressed. Or maybe my Jynx is just honestly weak. We finish it off with he brings out Vulpix, Growlithe's cousin. We finish it off with Bubble Beam. Next up, Sandrew, same thing goes for him. Another easy swipe with Bubble Beam. Now for his final Pokemon, Eevee, which honestly is, I'm not even surprised he survives with Body Slam twice. It's alright, we knock it out. There you have it, we defeated rival number 4. We are currently at Pokemon Tower 2 and where we meet our rival for the 5th time. And from where we fought last time, he has now got a massive XP boost, as if his Pokemon hit the hyperbolic time chamber. His Sandslash is not a problem, as he is still a one-shot with our Ice Beam since our special is so high. Next up, we use Ice Beam on the Fox and it survives. We used Bubble Beam, which we kinda did an error, we should have used it from the start, but we had a brain fart. Next up, Cloyster, which this is scary. We use Psychic and actually land a critical on it, managing to KO it. Now Kadabra, use Body Slam, survives. Responds to Side Beam, but we survive. We proceed to finish it off. For his final Pokemon, his Jolteon actually outspeeds me, which is surprising since I have really high speed. He uses Pin Missile and we barely survive. Considering it's super effective to me, I use Psychic and it survives. Oh my god, at this point I know I lost. He uses Pin Missile and only hits me twice and I survive. This is insane. I use Bubble Beam and get the win, barely surviving. That was too close. Next up, we face Giovanni, and where we use Psychic, finish it off really easy. Next up, we use Ice Beam on the Persian, it survives. Giovanni uses a Guard Spec, we use Bubble Beam, finish off the Persian. Next up, he uses Rhyhorn, we use Psychic as well, we finish it off in one hit. Next up, he sends out Nidoqueen, which we end up using Ice Beam, and it also ends up being super effective, knocking it out in one hit. With that being said, we knock out Giovanni, and then we make our way towards Sabrina, the next gym leader. We used Body Slam, this Abra survives. Next up, Kadabra, we end up using Ice Beam as well, hopefully trying to get a freeze, but unfortunately we don't. We stick to Body Slam and it ends up giving paralysis. We ended up knocking it out, which is good. For his last Pokemon, it's Alakazam. Now this is going to be a big issue. We use Body Slam, it survives, and we managed to get a paralysis on the second Body Slam, which reduced its speed, and we managed to go again. Thankfully that happened. That was close. This was a very hard match for me. We beat Sabrina, I'm sorry. With that being said, we pick up the HM Serve and as well as the Gold Teeth, and where we teach Surf to our Squirtle. And for those who are wondering, I didn't teach Surf to my Jynx, is due to the fact that much later on I'm probably going to teach a different move, and if I teach Surf I won't be able to replace that move. And yes, I mentioned that just because I know Surf is a much stronger move than Bubble Beam. But without being said, we make our way towards Koga. We end up defeating his Venonats, make our way toward Venomoth, which we got Toxic on, which is not good, but we still managed to get the W. And with that being said, we finish off the Venomoth and we get our 6th badge. We give the Gold Teeth to the guy, get strength, get the rare candy. We make our way to Cinnabar Island where we fight Blaine, the 7th gym leader. And this one was a little bit hard, to be honest, just due to the fact that as you've seen, we get burned and his moves are super effective. Rapidash, it's just pretty much beats me up, and that's a reset. We try again, take out Jynx, we use Psychic on Ninetales. Its special fell, which is okay, it's kinda good, but it still did a lot of damage. We use Psychic again, finish it off. We use Bubble Beam on the Rapidash, it's super effective but not enough damage. And then here at this point, I thought, yes, he used the Super Potion, I'm gonna be able to get out of here. Nope, still lost. I forget that Rapid Spin doesn't work like that. Uses Flamethrower on me, and at that point it's already another reset. We go again for the 5th time at this point, and we use Bubble Beam on the Ninetales. Uses Confuse Ray on us, Flamethrower. That's pretty much another reset at this point. So I was very close to using rare candies here, but I decided that I'm probably gonna need them much later on in the Elite Four, so I decided to back off. But we actually managed to win this one with no damage. Next up, the Rapidash, which uses Takedown and knocks itself out, which honestly it's good but not good because look how much damage it did. And we got to Arcanine and we lost. So we go again, We use Ice Beam on the Ninetales, uses quick attack on us, and we got a crit, but it wasn't enough, so we finish it off. Next up, the Rapidash. We use Ice Beam on the Rapidash. It uses a Growl, which is okay. We use Bubble Beam, finish it off. Next up, Arcanine. This is the true boss. Ice Beam on it. We still don't knock it out. Use Bubble Beam, and we managed to land the crit, getting us the 7th badge. Next up, Giovanni. Now, Giovanni is an easy swipe, clean, however you want to call it. Blaine was just one of the hardest parts of the challenge, apart from Brock, but we knock out his Persian with Bubble Beam. Next up, Needle Queen, and this is easy swipe. We use Ice Beam on it, one shot. Jynx gets to level 51. Next sends up the Needle Queen, another one shot, no big deal. Rhyhorn, I'm sorry, Bubble Beam as well, one shot. And without being said, we collect the 8th badge, and now we make our way towards the Elite Four. But before that, we have to fight our rival one last time before we fight him at the championship. Sand Slash, another easy swipe thanks to our special. We use Ice Beam, finish it off. Execute, same thing, we use Ice Beam, knock it out. Ninetales, we end up using Bubble Beam, and we get a crit, but it actually survives with 1 HP or so, but no big deal. Thankfully, it didn't do too much damage on us. Now, Cloyster, it has really high special, but it still survives our attack, which is fine. We use Skull Bash on it. We ended up finishing it off. Skull Bash as well on the Kadabra. And one thing, I don't know if you guys know, but with Skull Bash, it has a chance of, I believe, boosting your defense, and that could activate the badge boost, the glitch, which is why I have it as well. And it's 100 out of 100, so 100% accuracy, 100% power. But as you've seen, we lost to a Jolteon, which is not fun. And of course, I forgot to save, so yep, here we go again. Thankfully, I've saved right here before Giovanni. We fight Giovanni, we already know it's an easy swipe. Thank God it wasn't right before Blaine, because yeah, that was a really hard challenge. It took me a few tries. But as you see, with Jynx, easy swipe on the Needle King, Needle Queen, as well as the Rhydon, which with Bubble Beam. And there we go, we defeated Giovanni. We collect our 8th badge, and we make our way back to the rival this time. With the rival, he sends out Sand Slash. We use Bubble Beam on it. It's a one shot with a crit. Even without the crit, I think it still would have been a one shot. We use Ice Beam on the Execute, knock it out as well. Ninetales, next up, we use Bubble Beam on it, and that's right, crit still doesn't kill it, but it does about halfway damage without the crit, which is fine. There's a little bit damage to be, no big deal. Sidekick on the Cloyster, and you just withdraw, but at that point it's too low health. We knock it out with Sidekick again. Skull Bash from the Kadabra, you just recover, but I mean, you're fully healed, bro. Like, what are you doing? But we knock it out with the Skull Bash again. Now Jolteon, the real challenge here. We use Sidekick, and we actually outspeed, which is nice. Uses Pin Missile, and it lands 3 times, which is not good. Use Ice Beam and managed to knock it out this time. So with that, we beat the rival. Now here's a little treat for you guys. We encountered a Moltres, so I guess let's see how Jynx does against Legendary. Oh, never mind, it one shots the Legendary. Well, that's unfortunate. So after that, with the Elite 4K, we make our way towards Lorelei, and I was considering using the rare candies before I fought her, but I decided not to, see how it goes. And it took me a few tries, honestly, to beat her. Probably more than a few tries, honestly. I just couldn't get past the Lapras. The Lapras was pretty much finishing me off. And right here we got pretty lucky. Hey, look, it's my twin, Nicki Minaj. And as well as the Jynx, honestly, she honestly posted a challenge here, surprisingly. It's I know it's surprising, but yeah, we use Ice Beam, knock it out the Jynx. We just had nothing effective against her, and then by the time we reached Lapras, we were already too low health. We used Psychic on her, and thankfully she used the Super Potion instead of attacking, which cost us to defeat Elite Four number 1 Lorelei, which is good. Next up, Bruno, and we're gonna try to do this without saving. and without using the red candies, just to see how far we can get to, or how good his Jynx is at level around this level. So Bruno, we all know Bruno, easy swipe as long as you have the right Pokemon. We use Bubble Beam on the Onyx, Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee we use Ice Beam on. Easy swipes. Onyx again, we just use Bubble Beam, knocking it out. Machamp, we use Sidekick, which is the correct move to use on it. And with that being said, we knock out Bruno with a flawless victory. Next, we're gonna use I think we teach Mimic to our Pokemon, if not on the here in the next one, which we ended up doing I guess on the next one. Spoiler alert, it's fine. Gengar, we use Sidekick, but we run out of PP actually, so that's unfortunate. Uses Gold Bat, we use Ice Beam on it, knock it out in one hit. Levels up to 57, sends out the Gengar again, finish it off. The Haunter, we use Ice Beam on it, and it actually freezes the Haunter, so that's nice. And I was about to use Skull Bash on it, but thankfully I didn't. And right here, Psychic would have been really useful, but no worries. Sent out Gengar, we just pretty much used Ice Beam on all of them, and we actually managed to get a freeze on it. Arbok, we finished it off with Bubble Beam. Gengar, well, it's frozen, it can't do much. And yeah, it uses Super Potion. Now here I thought she was gonna constantly use potions, but I was wrong, and we actually knock it out with Bubble Beam. With that being said, we defeat the third Elite Four. Now on to Lance, the Dragon type / Flying type Elite Four. I think we use PP Restorers right here, and as well as PP Restorers, Elixirs, however you guys want to call them. And then we actually teach Mimic here, I believe. So we're about to see if I did or didn't. We actually saved, but I'm gonna go ahead and block that, just because I don't want you guys to see what time we ended up beating it up until the very end. But it sends out Gyarados. We use Ice Beam on it, which is our strongest move against its Gyarados, and its Gyarados used Hyper Beam, which that's honestly was a little bit scary, but we managed to survive for like 47 HP. And at this point we finally learned Blizzard. I mean, level 58. At this point it's kind of like, alright, well, you could have teach it as well, but no worries. All its Dragonairs are easy one-shots with Ice Beam, and I know somebody in the comments had mentioned this not too long ago. Why didn't I use Ice Beam against his Pokemon? And I honestly kind of forgot, but I didn't forget this time, since it's one of our most moves that we're gonna rely on, at least. And with that being said, we defeat Lance. We make our way towards the final champion, but before that we use a full restore, and now I think this is where we use Mimic on our Jynx. And for this reason, this is why I didn't teach Surf to it, because I would have replaced Surf to Bubble Beam, and if I taught Surf, I wasn't going to be able to replace Mimic with Surf, which is why I didn't. But now Mimic is going to be pretty useful, at least in this run. You guys are going to see why, and I'll tell you why in a second. Sand Slash, easy swipe, as well as Alakazam. Right here we use Blizzard, since it's our it's the most reliable move we have at the moment. Psychic's not going to do much, and well, Ice Beam, yeah, we kind of need it, but Blizzard is the strongest. We actually end up using Psychic, surprisingly, and right here we use Ice Beam on the Executor, or however you guys want to call him. He used Leech Seed on me, which is a problem. Now Cloyster, this is where we use Mimic, and we actually steal Clamp, and the reason is because we have nothing, I guess, super effective against his Fire type, which is going to be a threat. And since I used Mimic to replace Bubble Beam, this is why. And with Clamp, I didn't want him to attack me, so I used Clamp. It's like Wrap, in other words, and as you guys can see, he can't really do much against me except that Leech Seed. And that's really the main reason why I used Clamp, because I didn't want to take any damage from him, and or possibly just fainting out right there. And with Jolteon, it was honestly super close. He used Pin Missile, but I survived, and we knock it out with Psychic, thankfully. And there you guys have it. We defeated the Elite Four, and as well as the champion. Now it's time to see what was our timing and how short or how fast we defeated So if you guys also enjoyed the video, please make sure to subscribe, leave a comment. If anything, do you have any suggestions on who else? We defeated it at a time of 803, and for a little treat, let's see how good Jynx does against Mewtwo. Now, this is the same moves we fought the Elite Four with, and we used Mimic to see what type of moves it has, as well as Steel One, but we took Barrier. So like this, we can pretty much activate the badge boost glitch in order for us to get stronger, in other words. But I was hoping this Ice Beam didn't freeze him, because I wanted to have like a fair fight, in other words, I guess. But thankfully it didn't get frozen. We get knocked out by the Mewtwo, sadly. But I want to go ahead and think, why don't we even out the playing field, right? So we used all our rare candies, and we got our Jynx to level 69. So we had 9 rare candies, I believe. And with that, we're gonna go ahead and face him at level 69, even out the playing field. And right before, as I was about to fight him, a Golbat appears. Like, I don't want to fight you, but okay. Anyways, here off, we start off with Blizzard. We only do about 1/4, which is honestly insane. And he uses Psychic. Doesn't take out too much damage due to the fact that I'm a Psychic as well. We use Blizzard and we almost knock it out, but he uses Recover and pretty much instantly heals all the way up to green health. With that being said, we use Ice Beam and we almost knock it out again, but unfortunately we don't. He keeps using Recover, and for a second I thought I was going to run out of power points as well, but we end up stealing Barrier to try to activate the badge boost glitch again, and hopefully getting our attack and special up in order to match his, and thus causing us to do more damage and potentially winning, right? And we use Ice Beam, but we actually freeze it, which is unfortunate. But yeah, guys, so there you guys have it. We defeated the Mewtwo, and enjoy.